Hi, I'm Randall May, inventor of the Acoustic EQ system. And I'm here with Stephen Perkins. We're going to talk about all the nuances when you open and close the venting of a drum.
So the new EQ snare drum.
Yes.
It's quite exciting.
Thank you.
I got my first snare drum about a month ago, and the first night I was experimenting with it and trying to figure out, how cool it's going to be. And after about an hour or two, I realized it is quite a difference.
Absolutely.
There is something going on here that, it really opened my eyes. I mean, obviously, you can open and close the bottom slot or the top slot.
Independently of each other.
Exactly. The sensitivity that's coming off the bottom head with the snare bed is greatly increased when you open up this crease.
No question.
It's incredible. The strokes and the ghost notes that you're doing are loud and clear. And that is going to make you a different sounding drummer. All of a sudden, when your ghost notes are coming out quite louder than you're used to, you're really more selective on where they fit and how they make the peaks and valleys of a snare part. And I realized as I closed and opened them, I played differently, and it brought different dynamics out of my wrist and my hands and my fingers. And when I had someone else play the drum, I sat in front of the drum kit, because as a drummer, we're always behind the kit and it sounds a certain way. As I got in front of the kit and had someone else play the drum and move the slots, I was really knocked out. There is quite a difference in volume and the actual sound of the wood, the honk the wood gives.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
Definitely when it vents open,
Yeah.
you'd hear the bottom end.
Yeah, it really opens up the honk, and I like that sound, and there's something, it's not like a choke, but there's a tightness you get when you close them up, and all of a sudden the snare closes down and the single strokes are very clear, but they're more dry, it seems. It kind of dries things up. How'd you come up with the idea, first of all?
Well, I don't really know that I have really invented anything. We've known for years that if you change the ratio of how a drum breathes, and it all started with kick drums, that it's going to have a sonic deviation. I thought the magic is there's been, well, let me back up. There's been an interpretation on themes with a plethora of drum manufacturers that have different concepts of how much venting, from very simple to really exotic, large portholes, etc. All the drums sound great. The problem is, that's it. It's one-dimensional. You live with that sound.
Exactly.
The hook, or the concept to do this, I tried to put my playing hat back on and say, could we achieve this and do it in real time? Can we start at square one and get to square 10 and back to 1 between the verse and the chorus?
Yeah.
And by the way, I saw you doing that when you were playing today.
There is
which blew me away.
Oh, cheers. So there's something great about having that control and the sensitivity, the control of sensitivity, and like you say, the low end and how dry or wet the drum sounds, and right at your fingertips, and you don't have to worry about what's going on in the monitoring, the engine room. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're controlling it, like you say, real time. And there's something great, especially when you're playing quiet, dynamic music. When people are listening, you can really take them for a ride with a snare drum like this.
Basically, the mechanism to allow this drum to do all of this variation and venting is really fairly simple. It's obviously a series of openings, and we refer to them as sonic portals, that go around the drum. And they're in every bay except 2 bays, the opposing bay to the handle.
Gotcha.
And we have an upper and lower, also known as batter and resonant. And they're simply just bands that follow a track inside the shell of the drum that open and close, much like the way a shutter would on a camera. It's mechanical. There's very little to go wrong. Simplicity was the name of the game here. One of the neat features is where these bands come together. We use what's called, this is nomenclature I adapted to it, is a spring turnbuckle. And basically it's a spring putting even tension on the band as it goes inside the track of the drum. So that's what gives it such a smooth action. And then if for any reason the drum were ever dropped, the spring will compress and it won't distort the slide valve.
I see that.
Also known as a slide valve, the band inside the drum. There's no lubrication that's required. It's just extremely precision. DW does a wonderful job of machining it in there, but it's a very nice piece.
And also it's sturdy enough if you're hitting nice big rim shots all night, it's not going to be moving. It's stuck in its spot, and it's secure into the place you left it.
Now here's a little engineering trip to go along with that. Because we have so much surface area going around the circumference of a 14-inch drum, that's what keeps it in place.
Oh, I see.
But still allows it to move with less effort. So just mechanical vibration isn't going to oscillate the handle. It'll never defeat that. You need to put some effort into it to move it, but it'll stay there.
So when you're interested in EQ snare, do you have to buy the maple blonde snare to get it, or how do you go about getting what you need?
Well, I believe at this point it's offered in one size, which is the 6x14 in the collector series. It's just been introduced now that it's available in all the satin finishes.
Nice.
And that's really cool, because when the drum was launched, it really came in the natural finish. Also this year, it's available in all of the finish ply, which is, I think, nomenclature for a wrap around the drum. So it's really opened up, and then of course all the versatility of any customization on the hardware, that's easy, but that can also be ordered with the drum. It's just the shell finishes have been expanded now to include all of the satin finishes and the wraps.
That's great. I mean, obviously drummers are interested in how we look.
Should be.
And part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And so when someone gets a drum like this at home, I recommend just playing around with it, trying your basic rudiments on the snare drum, playing with the levers and seeing, all the fantastic options you actually get that aren't available on a regular snare drum. They're not.
Well, I'd like to think of it as it really is the drum for all gigs.
One more thing about the drum. Congratulations, first of all.
Oh, thank you.
Snare Drum of the Year, Drum Magazine. One of the top magazines in North America, talking about drummers and the gear. And Snare Drum of the Year, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's obviously very flattering.
It's the first snare drum you came up with ever, and it won the best one of the year. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, I won't tell you the real first one.
Oh, okay.
Because it wouldn't qualify for the best snare drum of the year.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, you and DW have teamed up, and of course, it's going to be a winning product, but actually it is a winning product.
Thank you. I should really give kudos to DW, because in all sincerity, their established image and credibility, there couldn't have been a better company to pair this with.